How's up, everyone? Today, we're going to be looking into the new Dragonyule Christmas banner for Dragalia Lost. Today, performing the analysis with me would be my trusty co-host, Burke. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Alright, now, so according to this, we have a bunch of really powerful water units that are coming in. In particular, Cleo. Now, Cleo seems to be the type of hero that does a lot of crit. Really works with her kit than anything else. And it appears that the energy mechanic that was introduced with Lucretia and friends are here to stay, because she's also going to be providing energy and receiving energy herself by dishing every 30 hit combo. That's actually pretty scary, because daggers, they really stacks up a lot of combos. Now, what are your opinions on our pal Cleo here? You think you're gonna summon for her at all?
No. Cleo looks great. Cleo's great waifu material. I think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, look at that art. That art is fantastic. And I think when we'll get through her kit in a second, I think she looks very strong. But given I have so many good water units already, I'm not gonna try to summon for her. But if she's your waifu or you don't have a water unit, I don't think you can go wrong here. The first skill, I guess we just look at her stats. Her stats are not bad. Daggers don't have high strength in general, so I think her strength is very similar to Ezelith's, which is on the lower end. But you know, that's not that daggers are not high strength units. And immediately the first thing that I focused in on was her first skill has a freeze on it. And anyone that's played with lilies knows that freeze is very good.
As a matter of fact, I think all three of these units have freeze. They're really bad. Because when it comes to these things, it's either freeze or bog. To be honest with you, I actually rather like bog. Bog does a lot. It can add a lot.
I like
of damage.
bog. I like enemies that are frozen and bog.
Yeah, water is actually a really strong element when you think about it like that. Because every time I spray them all over the face with Leviathan and it got bogged, I do so much extra damage. It doesn't matter if they can't move very far or not. It doesn't really matter if that affected them at all. The most important thing is that I do so much extra damage. Now, with this, I feel that you can freeze them and then you can just hit them mercilessly. Something that Ezelith cannot do. And as your comparison with Ezelith goes, I mean, she's vastly superior. It's just that, you know, in terms of stats, they're similar, but that freeze is just so superior. And then you have to add on to the fact that they got skill shift. 3 parts, too. It's ridiculous. And
also, right before we get into that, we don't know how long the iframe is going to be on this thing. So, like, Ezelith has one of this unique skills where that skill's iframe is just ridiculous. How long she just keeps spinning around attacking stuff. I'm guessing this one's not going to be that long, but you know, that could be a pro or a con sometimes. But yeah, well, if it does turn out to be super long like Ezelith's, then the comparison might work better. Then going into what you were just talking about, this has a skill shift on it. So once you use the skill, you're going to enter a phase where you're going to give your entire team strength. And that, I don't know if we know the amount yet, but you know what? Giving your team strength is good. That is a good effect. It's always going to be useful.
Well,
so,
you can also give crit, too.
I think crit is on phase 3, I believe, right?
Yeah. So,
which is still good.
I'm guessing this thing is like this. So, with regards to Cleo, you cling onto your target, you keep slashing at them over and over again, just keep ramping this thing up. This thing probably has like a 3.5k SP cost or something like that. It maybe 4, but it probably won't be very high. It's probably going to be on the lower end, I think. I have a good feeling about this skill. It's probably going to be one of these skills where you just latch on them, you keep slashing, and then you just ramp up your strength, your energy level. Because as you can see earlier, that stupid Cleo builds up energy by every 30 hits. So this is a completely skill-based character that rewards you for keep hitting on someone. So you just keep building your stats, and Although the stun resistance is a little awkward. Anyway, so you just keep sticking up to someone and just keep hitting them over and over and over and over and over again until you can't anymore. I feel like this is a really scary character. This is something even beyond Lily, though.
She's going to be one of, I think, the best water units we have. Yeah, I think that 30 hits equals energy level up is going to be, in practice, stronger than it looks on paper. 30 hit combo is not very difficult for a dagger unit. Funny enough, regarding that stun, I'm going to make a bold prediction right here and say I think there's a decent chance that stun resist may play a role in High Brune. I don't know if we've gotten enough data mine or stuff, and maybe they've already come out with it, and I'm just super wrong. So if that's the case, so be it. But I would not be shocked if their brand new, super awesome 5-star water unit that's releasing right as High Brunhilde is coming out. I would think that the stun res would be relevant. I would not be shocked from a monetary perspective if that made sense.
Indeed.
You know, that's just speculation. I'm not going to base that off of anything other than that. You know, I think they want people to summon, so the stun res might be relevant. But well, it wouldn't shock me. Is what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
so
I can see it happening, because think about it like this. All right, now what would be associated with fire? It's usually just burning, and then it was stunned from Fire IO. But then you think about it again. Midgard also carried stun. I feel like stun is probably their key technique. Oh wait, no. I think it was Wind IO was the one who pushed you to sleep. That's right. So yeah, it's definitely going to be stun. I feel like Brunhilde will stun you mercilessly.
There could be multiple. We could see stun and burn res.
That's possible. They did say that this raid is going to be tougher than Midgard, so we're looking at a really rough time. I feel like the stun resistance really are going to be very important, because I mean, look what happened with Ezelith, who didn't have stun resistance. People look down on her, although if you've got sufficient skill, it doesn't really matter. But this, I feel like, will easily make Cleo much stronger than Ezelith, just for the sheer fact that you don't get stunned. You can just keep sticking on a target. Daggers are very good with sticking next to their targets, just because of that stupid attack.
They are.
Where you just, as soon as you attack, you just lunges towards them. You just rip them to shreds. I want to try this fighting style myself, because I have an Ezelith, but I never got to use her because I'm the team Severica. I have to heal. So.
Yeah. If I do get Cleo and I do a little bit of summoning, I will certainly use her, because I don't have a dagger either that I really use. So I would like to try it more. I guess, let's see. So she's got a co-ability of 10% crit. Crit is, she's already giving you crit/strength during her first skill. More crit, I think, during the phase 3 with crit, and then you add the 10%. That can add up, especially with other units that also may have their own built-in things. It's just a solid co-ability. The ability that really stands out to me, though, is her first one of HP 70 equals strength plus 13%. Now, I love Rodrigo as a 3-star unit, and he has HP 70 equals strength 8%, and I found it great. This is strength plus 13%. That is very massive.
Indeed. I mean, yeah. What was the one for Lily? I think it was like 18% or something like that for 100%, but 70%.
I think it was higher, but it was 100%.
Yeah, this is a much cleaner threshold.
Oh yeah, because and if you bring a healer, which we don't know if Hild or what, I don't think there are too many good water healers, but if you have someone who's healing in this, she's gonna shine with being able to keep up HP 70% probably most of the fight, if not the entire fight.
You can probably get away with. Well, then again, Midgard actually hits pretty hard. Getting hit by a ball, you're already going to be below 70%. Now that I think about it, so it might not even matter all that much, but it's good for other places as well.
Oh, and like the lesser maps, it's going to be...
Not Brunhilde, but I feel like, 70%'s always been good. So
we'll see. If Hild works in High Brunhilde, then it could be happening. But we talked about the stun resist already. So we'll see. It could be completely useless. It could be fantastic. It really just depends on which res you need. Obviously, the fire IOs will stun you, so it's going to be very good there. If Brunhilde has some stun thing in it, that's great. If not, then it's a waste. And then, yeah, we talked about this a little. The 30 hits equals energy level up. I think it's going to be very, very easy to get this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you saw what Wobble's brother did with Ezelith, 500 and something, 580 combo on Midgard. That's so much energy. You would do so much damage with her. That's absolutely insane, because like every 5 is 15%, and you have this Empyrean Grace. You look at the skills. Starlit Gift, it has like this Yu-Gi-Oh description, and then there's this. Does water damage to enemies directly ahead?
Oh, I actually didn't even. I skipped over that.
It's so tiny, I know. It's really tiny. It's as if Starlit Gift has a lot to compensate for it, because look at this. It's so teeny tiny. Just deal damage with water.
Directly ahead. It's not like some skills say like in a line, or they like even give you direction.
Yeah. You have to really stick to your opponent. This is a very close quarter character. This is absolutely insane. And you know what? I don't know if you know this, but the water dagger for 5-star, it only increases user strength by 35 or 40% for 5 seconds. That's all it does. It doesn't do damage like Ezelith's dagger does.
Yeah, so, that's pretty subpar.
It's very subpar. For 5 seconds, dude, like as soon as you use a skill, you do a little pose. So in practice, you only have like 3 or 2 seconds. No, well, 3 or 4 seconds. I feel like it's not that long, but still, it takes some time off of you already as you cast it. And well, actually, no, I might be wrong. It might be after the animation and it procs. But regardless, 5 seconds is not a lot of time.
5 seconds blows.
Not overall DP. Well, it is. But then again, you look at this. It does increase your strength by like an explosive amount, like 35 or 40%. Now, that in itself is its own way of saying, hey, look, it's a skill damage. You hit so fast that I don't know how many times a dagger can hit in a single blow, or a single second, because you haven't used her yet. But this will be very interesting to see. This is a very skill-based character, and as soon as you brought this, I feel like the best time to use that dagger skill is right before you use Empyrean Grace. And I don't think Empyrean Grace will have a high SP cost too. I mean, just look at it! Little teeny tiny skill.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. So it could be...
Overall, I think Cleo is going to be excellent. I think she's going to be incredibly viable in a lot of maps. We'll see about Brunhilde with the stun res. I don't know about the HP, if there's going to be issues with that or not. But look, she's got great art. If you're pulling for her because she's your waifu, then she's, go ahead. If you want a strong water unit, you really cannot go wrong if you get her. She's going to be self-sufficient in the energy being built up, and the more, I think, as they continue to make more and more of these energy units, it's going to help more as support. Like right now, it feels like if you only have one person doing it and no one else has anything like to support other units, it's like But I think we're going to get to a point, if they keep pushing this, where it's going to be very valuable for supporting other units too. So I think she might be able to play both roles of being a really strong attacker, really strong support with the energy. There's really not too much negative to say here about Cleo.
Yeah, definitely a very, very powerful character. I'm going to try to get her, but if I don't, I still have Lily as a fallback. But honestly, Lily is I really like Lily for the way she's, got the 100% thing. But Lily doesn't have a very good second ability. I've always been kind of about her second ability. Comes out quick, and, well, you have to be right next to the enemy. And then her main ability also freezes, does damage, but takes like 10 years to come out. Now, again, earlier...
How the freeze works on...
Yeah.
Like, slow. If it turns out that Cleo's ability to freeze is, like, much faster than Lily's, that will certainly make Lily a bit worse. Lily had that, I came out, I can freeze stuff. She was just insane when she came out.
Well, she's also raging.
If all these... Yeah, that's also true. But if all these other units that can freeze, and we're about to talk about more, If their freeze activates a lot faster, it's not going to make Lily bad, but it's certainly, I feel like it's going to put a little, negative connotation to how many people will feel about Lily moving forward, where all these other units can freeze, so it doesn't feel so unique now, and hers is so slow. But yeah,
but Lily does at least have a second attack. I mean, a third one attack. And so
true.
Compensate.
And I love skill prep.
Yeah, that too.
That alone is, skill prep is just so amazing. Speaking of other units, if I had to pick in terms of just who I want for art and waifu reasons, it would actually be Nefaria.
It would be who?
Nefaria.
Nefaria? Indeed.
Who's our next
We're going to be talking about her anyway. Let's go and get started with that.
Yeah.
We've gotten good info on Cleo already. So, what are your thoughts on Nefaria besides, oh, she's good waifu material, carries a large sack?
Well, I mean, look at that art. I mean...
well, come on now.
This is a gigantic sack.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Rocking the gladiator sandals. I mean, let's see. In terms of being a unit, though, not just art and, that.
Well,
so her skills. It's dealing water damage to enemies in a line. Then she has, that should be decent. But the main skill we want to look at here is her special delivery, which I find it to be a hilarious name. Activates gifts ready, and when it's active, you can distribute, quote, gifts by using their Force Strike. You can give them a shield that nullifies damage less than 15% of their max HP and increases their energy. So, yeah, this is a thing. I think with the changes to Force Strikes for bows, this skill is going to be a lot better than it appears right now.
well, I mean, even though you say this, I mean, I've seen the video, and I've seen how it comes down much quicker, but I feel like this is a skill that isn't all that great. I mean, it's good. I just feel that it, you could, I mean, I say this, but honestly, completely avoiding damage is not very feasible. It's just that I just can't help but feel that, skills that you use because solely to cover someone's mistake, it just feels a little meh. I feel like it should
But it increases their energy, too. It's not just 15% of their max
Yeah,
HP.
but energy itself is a kind of messy mechanic. Because every time you suffer a ailment, you lose it all. Every last bit of it. Like for instance, if, say, the boss, say Brunhilde, for instance, does, some kind of random attack that does a split-second stun, you lose it all. It is really screwed up. Now, energy is a mechanic that works best in a team full of people who uses energy, because normal characters, they don't have means to build it up themselves.
Right.
So, I feel like that it's kind of iffy. Not to mention, it says that you have to kind of aim it. At least it kind of makes it sound like you do. You have to, let's see, distribute the Force Strike. So, oh wait, maybe you don't even have to aim it. I remember seeing it that you have to near your friendlies. I saw that earlier, but it seems like it's not here in the description.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you use this skill and you just use your Force Strike, even if it doesn't hit an enemy, I'm pretty sure this is still...
Well, if that's the case, then this is actually much better than I thought, because this is two energy level, and you just need to go, and that's it. I mean, if you ignore the fact that it gives you a shield, you just go. If that is really the case, that you don't have to hit anything or have this ability to be within range of somebody else, then this is actually much better than I thought, because
that's how I was viewing it. But I agree with you that if it doesn't work that way, then this is much worse than I was.
But yeah, this could be used to dodge or block certain attacks. Does she have skill prep? Let me see. Oh, what a shame.
Does not.
What a shame.
She does have skill haste, which I think is not one of the better. Like, I think skill haste is much more team comp situational than many of the other co-op buffs. So I'm not going to say it's terrible, but you know, I don't think the skill haste 11% is one of the better co-op abilities.
Well, I also have to think about this because you don't have Nefaria yourself, right?
Correct.
Her second ability's SP cost is about like 8,000, 9,000, so it does take a little while before you build it. However, they did also just buff bows so that they shoot much faster, so maybe with that and the skill haste itself, it could build up at a pretty astronomical pace. Again, this could be very interesting, especially with unavoidable damage. You can just go blip, blip, and then just block 2 hits worth of it. So this is
when I'm talking skill comp, I'm picturing where it will be great is if you have like a Xander on your team, where you're skill hasting his strength buff to give out to the team, which is one of the better strength buffs in the game. I just think if you just throw random whatever's together, skill haste, whatever, you know, that's fine. But I think that the skill haste isn't going to, like, look at the crit rate or strength as a co-op ability. They're just so much more useful. When are you ever going to not want strength?
Of course.
The skill haste can be not quite as potent, I think, sometimes. I mean, for longer fights, maybe not, but like some of the shorter battles, it just seems kind of But something that is not as weak, I would say, is her skill damage ability.
Actually, that's kind of awkward for me, because when I think about that, she used based on her force strike, not on her skills. Let me take a look at the 5-star bow. Yeah, 5-star bow for water is increase user's critical rate. By 20%.
And also she has a skill with the special delivery that is not doing damage. So that also does hurt. Like in a vacuum, the skill damage 25% is a great ability. It's not as great on her being her class and being one of her skills as this special delivery where it's not doing damage. So she was not able to take advantage of it as much as some other units can.
If you were to use the 4-star bow, it would work better. But yeah, it's not good for 5-star bow. You want to build her for 4-star.
It's still good. I mean, Plunder Pal's ability is still good, but yeah, she's not the best unit for it, and she's not gonna be able to take full advantage of it unless, you know, maybe it turns out that the Star Squall shot she has is like ridiculously low SP cost, and she can just almost not spam it, but close or whatever. Then maybe it will be better than we're looking at. But in a vacuum, I think the skill damage plus 25% is a very good ability. Maybe not maximized here.
Well, yeah, but then you have to look at the burn resistance. Burn resistance is kind of meh. I feel like the burn is not going to be that bad with Brunhilde if she even does burn. I feel like
I think she will, but we're just guessing.
Yeah, we're just kind of guessing.
If burn res is there and you get burned, this is going to be great. If it's not, then this is
kind of iffy. I've never really thought about needing burn res for a lot of things.
I think, well, because the what's it called? The Brunhilde master map is so easy. It doesn't, no one stands in that X Muspel, whatever the hell thing.
Oh
gets
man,
burned
that'd
anyway.
be interesting to see how she does it on the raid. Oh my god.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm.
She's just gonna X all over the map, like X X X X X X X X. Just keep going back and forth. That'd be pretty scary, but also very funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done raids in Final Fantasy 14, but there's a boss at Twintania that just keeps doing dive bombs all day, and that's probably what will happen. Oh, it could be like Onyxia. Oh yeah. It could be like that.
I have not. That sounds fun. Like, I'm excited for like something like that.
I could have sworn you played well. Onyxia.
Oh well, the first. Oh, Onyxia. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. And I've done Onyxia.
Yeah, dude. Of course, I don't know about getting tail swipe into a nest of eggs, but that's
some old school WoW right there.
Yeah, but that fire breathing though, that's exactly what that is. And I don't know how many people are going to be stupid enough to stand there, but it might be a very large radius, or what she could do is she just ignites the whole map and burns you, in which case this could be very helpful. Because think about it like this. When we first fight High Midgard, he uses that blast. You get stunned. Now, stun isn't as scary because it doesn't, like, kill you. But actually, can burning kill you? I've never even thought about that. Does it, like,
I think it can.
Weaken you to 1? Or is... Because I think poison...
I'm pretty sure it can be lethal.
Poison weakens you to 1. But if flame does not kill you, it just weakens you to 1, then my worries are not as bad. But if it does kill you, though, at the end of it, then this is actually very, very useful. Very useful indeed. Because, yeah, right in the beginning, the healer is going to take like 10 years before they can heal, unless they have skill prep. Now, the water healers that we have currently is Dragonyule.
Bad.
I don't think he has skill prep either. He is so
He's
terrible.
not very good.
He is so terrible. And who's even the other one? It's Ricard, right?
Also bad.
Well, he's not that bad compared to Dragonyule, but yeah, Dragonyule is just in a whole different level when it comes to being bad.
Them to all the other healers in other classes, they're bad.
Yeah, well, he's also 3 stars as well. You know, you can't really fall in. But I really had expectations for Dragonyule because he looks kind of like Idea, but that's just personal preferences. But still, he just doesn't have anything. He just has 1 heal. And a shield. Ooh.
I hate when you only have like 1. It just gimps your ability to do meaningful healing. It's so frustrating, and that's why after playing Hild as my main, it's very difficult for me to use anybody else. The Lowen that I pulled this, and he has skill prep, and I still have not used him. It's sad.
At least Ricard, Ricard being a 3 stars, having one of his ability robbed from him. He still has stun resistance and all that wonderful jazz. Dragonyule, what does Dragonyule have? Gauge inhibitor in place of that. Gauge inhibitor. Oh my god. Deplorable. Absolutely terrible. It's just, Dragonyule's so terrible. But anyway, we were getting a little off topic here.
We are, and let's see. Okay, so there's one last thing about Nefaria we did not discuss yet, and that is her last ability, Flurry Freezer 1.
I don't like it at all. Ugh.
When it's 15 or higher, it grants a 6-second buff that gives standard attacks a 10% chance of inflicting freeze. So you were just saying you don't like it at all, so what are your reasons for that?
Well, it's 10%. How many times can you freeze with an ice beam in Pokemon? Oh, well, 1 out of 10, naturally, is what you say, but you can't really rely on it. And you have to be a combo count of 15 or higher. Now, I don't know if it refreshes itself as long as it stays at 15 or higher, but still gotta get 15.
So, I'm gonna give a slightly different opinion with somewhat of a caveat. So, the language here says standard attacks have 10% of inflicting it. Now, as a bow unit, there are a few attacks that they have that have multiple shots. If the 10% chance is proccing off of each individual little arrow, that is a big difference than if it's each shot. So, like one of the scatter shots has 4. If that shot of 4 has 10%.
So you're thinking that you can just
last one might have 5 or 6. I don't know how many it has. It has a lot. But if it's actually each arrow has a 10% chance, then there are 2 strikes that bow users have with a legitimate chance to freeze every single time.
I see. So then you're looking at something like chain freezing that Fire.io guy did that.
Yes. Now, again, but that's a big difference. If it works the way I just said, then I think this skill is pretty solid. If it doesn't work that way and each attack is 10%, it's extremely underwhelming.
Yeah, but unfortunately, though, freeze is one of these skills I feel like is only good for stuff like IO. For big bosses, you won't be able to take full advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand that, it working well on these situations. You still have to build a combo, but that's not too hard considering how fast and how wide archers are like. So it's definitely an IO destroying thing. Well, too bad about, the burn resistance, but, if you can stick to that target, you will freeze them, at least if it works like that.
Yeah, And it remains to be seen. Everybody's assuming that High Brunhilde is not going to be able to be frozen. I probably agree with that. My hope would be that they stop doing this I'm immune to crap and actually just, for like the high raids, they say, okay, well, Brunhilde's going to get frozen, but the frozen duration is going to be 10 or 20% of the normal duration. So she gets frozen, but for like a second or something. I feel like that would be much better, because you've got all these units like depending on blind or stun or whatever, and it sucks when they're immune and then your mechanics just don't work.
I feel like it's going to cause a lot of problems. Now, when we were breaking High Midgard, his behavior is a little weird when it comes to golems, summoning golems. So you could cause a slew of problems with this, like with just unexpected bugs because your boss is suddenly just stopping every, like, I don't know, whenever, because it's like these mini stuns. Those are very, very potent.
And they've also been very bad with the Midgard bugs.
So I feel like probably not. It probably won't happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's about it, really. I feel like she's a good hero for her support skills and boss fights like that, but otherwise, her other abilities doesn't seem to work very well for, well, it just, her skill seems to be a mishmash of a whole lot of different things. They don't have, like, a good, they don't all work well together, you know what I mean?
Unlike Cleo, who's very self-synergistic with the way her things work.
Well, the energy providing is pretty good. But
Nefaria, she's not self-synergistic, but I feel like how good she's going to be is very hit or miss right now, depending on two things. One, whether that special delivery works the way I said, where you can just fire it off, it doesn't matter if you hit anybody, whatever, and then it triggers. And the way her Flurry Freezer 1 works. If it works the way I said, where each arrow has a chance to freeze, or not the way you think it is, where it's like one attack and then it's never going to trigger. If it works both in the way I think, then I think she's actually pretty strong for a 4-star archer. If it's the other way around, then I think she's probably very underwhelming. Or if it's 1 and 1, then maybe she's average, but I think it remains to be seen on Nefaria.
Yeah, so yeah, her kit hinges on these two things. Alright, well, let's go and move on to our pal Xander, King Starfall. Who puts
Make way for the king!
Well, apparently now he'll just put smiles on the faces of all his subjects. Alright.
Yes.
So, what do you think about this one?
Well, more freeze. I mean, they clearly have decided, hey, you're water, you gotta freeze. It's a wand user, so you're already gonna. There's so many lilies out there. The first thing I have to think of is he gonna be able to even stack up close to Lily? And we'll see. His first skill is a freeze. Deals water damage to target and nearby enemies and freeze. And I feel like
if it's faster, then he'll be better than Lily with that. But Lily's thing does cover a huge radius.
It does, but my guess is, and I feel a little more confident in this one, being the same weapon type. I feel like his freeze will be more similar to Lily's and the same.
I guess it makes sense because freeze is so powerful that you don't want it to be like. Bleh. But then again, we've already seen what happened with Cleo and Nefaria. I think Cleo, simply because she's 5-star, but the main problem with her is that she can only do it to enemies in front of her, directly in front, so she can only freeze her target. So, you might be right about that. I'm thinking about something more along the lines of Imperial 11, though. That stupid little attack that Amane does. And just freeze the target in a little bit of small area around it, but it comes out quick.
That would be excellent. I think if it's that instead of Lily's slow ass one, I think that would be very, very good for him.
And then there's a second ability which I really like, boosting strength. Well, you never go wrong with boosting strength, and it also gives energy level. It's a very simple, but it's very good.
It is very good. This skill is excellent. how, it can't be bad. How exactly excellent it will be will depend on how the SP costs and how long it takes to charge. But this is, it's not a top-end strength buff, because someone like a Xander, for example, is going to hit 20% and is going to be 15 seconds. So you're talking 5% less strength, 5 less seconds. However, this also adds an energy. So that's an entire additional effect that is not on Xander. So it makes sense that the strength buff won't be quite as good as his, which is only that. I'm going to assume that the SP cost will be something similar to Xander's, but who knows? This is an excellent skill. There's very little wrong with this. It's strength buff for everybody. Everyone wants strength. It's going to be good. I have nothing bad to say about Monarch's Boon.
Yeah, I mean, Xander does give 20% over this 15%, and for 15 seconds over 10 seconds, but you do get energy on top of this. But still, energy is kind of iffy unless you run a whole team full of it, which I think is probably what they're trying to do.
We're trending in that direction. Yeah. It's still not there, but we're slowly creeping.
Well, 3 characters providing energy, I feel like that's what they want us to do. Hey, have a whole team of guys using energy in that one fight. Come on. That's
where we're heading slowly, and then maybe they'll shift to a new mechanic. But yeah, until we get enough where you can have reliably form parties of energy users, yeah, I think they're going to keep pushing.
Yes. Well, anyway, he gets skill damage, which is a typical thing with wands, but that's whatever. Now,
solid, better than the skill haste, I believe, but it's not.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about next, because you see his abilities. One is Striker's energy. Gaining 2 energy for every 3 enemies defeated is great, except against boss fights, you can forget that. And I mean, gaining 2 stages. Usually, see, when you use gain energy, you want to use it to fight a boss. You want to hit something that deserves that 50% extra strength. So Striker's energy to me feels kind of blah, unless say I don't know, it'll have to do something a little bit more permanent, like the skill or the strength or skill damage increase that Berserker or Navid has. So I'm not feeling Striker's energy. And then you're looking at skill haste 5%.
So going back to Striker's energy for a second, I think this is going to get much better when you have those full teams, because if you have the potential, like let's say and this is only going to work in an IO or not like a boss.
You also have to consider though that it's only 5 times per quest.
I actually was not thinking about that limitation. So
yeah,
up to 5 times that hampers it.
It works for permanent skills, but for no.
Because I can easily picture a case where you kill 2 enemies with 4 strike and you gain 4 energy right away, and like that scenario sounds super strong. But then increases
1 4 strike is really blah. It's really blah.
I can see it being crazy in some very specific scenarios, but I think you're probably right that this is going to be more underwhelming than it reads. With the 2 per.
Yeah, I feel like Xander. That's what's dragging Xander down. These things. Though stun resistance is nice, skill haste and Striker's energy drags him down. I cannot stress it. Skill haste of 5%, dude. 5%! That's like nothing. I mean, yeah, you can stack it on top of other skill haste, but even then, stacking skill haste doesn't really do you that much good. It doesn't even give you enough.
5%.
It doesn't even give you 1 extra skill. It's very, very, very bad. It's not good at all. That's a waste of skill slot.
Skill haste 5%. No.
It's about as bad as Daniel's stupid inhibitor thing. At least the inhibitor could probably do more for Daniel, but skill haste is so terrible at 5%. Even at 10%, I might not be enough.
If you can stack skill haste to get to, let's say, 30% somehow with buffs and all sorts of things, then it's going to be great. But when it's low percent, like all you have is 5% skill haste, you're not noticing very much.
No, exactly. We haven't noticed it much anyway, because we don't see archers being used, but I did use Nefaria for a bit. And despite the fact that I was stacking his skill haste because of Jewels of the Sun and all that, it was not significant. It was... you can somewhat feel it, but it's not significant enough. It will maybe squeeze you one skill. But the maps these days, they don't last very long. Unless we start fighting
that's exactly what it is. I've only noticed on units with very, very fast first skills like my Rodrigo, where I have noticed the skill haste making a difference. And that's because it's so low that the little bit of skill haste, you know, let's say it takes normally 10 seconds to charge. Well, when you change that and have like a second or two off, that's noticeable. But when it takes 20 or 30 seconds to charge, it doesn't feel like it's going to do anything. So I think there is going to be a time and some type of team comp down the road where you can stack skill haste like crazy between co-op abilities and other things, and maybe get to 30 or 35 or something crazy, and it will be great. But unless you get something like that, skill haste without super stacking feels not very good.
Yeah, I feel that Xander is probably not the worst unit on this thing.
Definitely. And well, I guess Nefaria could be if everything works against her and her...
then she's really bad.
You have to hit something with her 4-strike, and then her freeze sucks and only works on like one, like each... It's 10% on each bolt, and then the 5 bolt is like super low.
Aim your 4-strike, and it doesn't.
Then Xander might
all kind of disastrous things. Yeah, then we can forget that.
But
it's
so Nefaria is the most volatile. Xander, I think, is
it's just like
a bit on the weaker side. I don't think people have Lily. Lots of people have Lily.
Yeah.
Just if you got Lily, don't even. If you get Xander, don't use it. I mean, Lily's great. How about this John? Now, John is my favorite dragon.
Because you can't get rid of her. She keeps coming to you.
But I don't have this John.
Well, she'll probably do the same thing. She'll keep coming to you.
Is it going to be 60% HP? No, it's not going to be 60.
No, instead it's something else stupid. It's 45% strength.
So I want to get right into this. 45% strength and 20% crit rate. So now, you know, most of the 5-star damage dragons, you've got 60%. And then the other version is the mixed HP strength, where you've got at maximum bound, I think it's 30% strength, 30% HP. So we now have like a third version of this, and I'm sure we're going to see more down the line, but this 45% strength and 25% crit for that element. How do you feel like the comparison is between 60% strength, and then you've got the 45% strength, 20% crit, and then the 30% strength, 30% HP? How would you compare those?
Well, it's kind of funny, because crit is one of these things that the more you stack, the stronger it gets. So on characters like Cleo, this will be very significant. This dragon is built to support Cleo. It's built with that idea completely. Now, if you have Levin's champion, well, that's another 8% right there. So you're looking at 28% base crit rate. When you crit, you do 70% extra damage. Levin's champion gives you another 10. So you're doing 180% damage at like a 28% base rate. And then you add on the fact that daggers give 10%, you're looking at a 38% base rate. It is very, very devastating. Now, they obviously weaken it so that, you know, your strength is only 45%. But if you're critting like that, it really, really adds up. People assume that, oh yeah, crit rate 10% is like 10% to strength. No. Strength, crit is something that the more you stack, the worse it gets. If it goes over 50%, then its efficiency doubles. It practically just doubles. That's how scary critical is.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like some people think crit rate is actually not that great. I think, and I hope I'm correct with this, because if it turns out that John, this water John, ends up being like the best water dragon and better than Leviathan, that will not be good. But my guess is going to be that certain units are going to want John much more. Like you were just mentioning, Cleo, for example. Cleo, in my opinion, is going to want this water John much more than Leviathan. Other units where they cannot stack crit in the same way are going to much prefer Leviathan. And if that is the case, I think this is a good thing for the game where you've got more diversity, and you like, okay, I've got both Leviathan and John, and I can just put them on the unit that it works better on. So that's how I think it's going to work. I'm sure someone will do some combat math and calculations and crit rate and strength and how much damage ends up the output's doing, and we can figure out who's better in general on most units. But generally, I'm going to go ahead and predict that on some units, the Water John is going to be better than Leviathan. On other units, Leviathan is going to be better than the Water John. And if you don't have any Water Dragons, then yeah, you should summon for this Water John. But I think it's going to be tough to say one's better than the other, like, you know, in a vacuum right now.
Yeah, but you see, the thing with Leviathan is that Leviathan turns out to have a very good moveset. Like, somebody did the whole thing on Dragon combos, and Leviathan soars over all competition. One, Leviathan bogs. So when that thing bogs, you do so much extra damage.
True.
And then his moveset is just his ball and thing combo that comes out really quick. And then you just use a dodge, and then you get to do it again. So when he's out, you can do a lot of dragon damage with him. Now, Jean of Arc will probably end up swinging her spear around, or that staff.
Now, if Jean has anything like her,
massive
Jean,
range,
who has, by the way, I think the most ridiculous range of any dragon in the game, the way she swings the spear around and hits goddamn 3/4 of the map, it's insane. She has this range with this. And I see her holding the spear in her art. I see it. She's got the spear in her hand. So that could be the way we're looking. The ability to pop your dragon, you're across the map, and you can just move over one space and then hit anything.
Again, it's another thing on variation. Instead of pure damage like Leviathan, you clean up the map. So
she sweeps with that thing. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I look forward to her, but, you know, being a guy with both Lily and Leviathan, it does make me a little weird summoning this, because water is not light and dark. You can't carry them onto, well, grass-type maps. You'll get destroyed. But then again, I'm really strong when it comes to fire as well, so maybe this isn't so very bad. But I feel like, I don't know, I might want to save it for light and dark, but I also really like Cleo, and I really like the idea of stacking crit like that and tearing things to shreds. That is my type of fighting style. Sticking to someone, just keep hitting them over and over again with significantly damaging things, ramping up ridiculous amount of damage. But yeah, Cleo is just single target, single target, single target. But this is just, oh man.
When you have Cleo and you put a John on her...
Yeah, exactly. You clear her weakness.
Freezes, by the way. Her Frost Beam freezes. So you're talking ridiculous amounts of
freezing and whatnot. Sweep the field, shoots an ice beam. Yeah, God, dude, this is just a deadly combination. Oh,
it's a lot of freezing.
Yeah, and I really look forward to
and the crit rate, the 20% crit rate for Cleo, So look, if you have Leviathan, don't feel obligated to go out of your way to get the John. If you know a lot of people like John, think she's hot, your waifu dragon thing, whatever, that's fine. You do what you want. But if you don't have a water dragon and you're like, damn it, I wanted Leviathan, I didn't get Leviathan. Well, yes, this is a chance for you to get another dragon that's we don't know whether in a vacuum it's going to be as strong as Leviathan, but I don't think anyone's going to say this Water John is bad. If you can get this Water John, you will be good on Water Dragons.
Yeah, man, I'm really worried when the time for summoning comes. Really, really worried. I don't know if I should do it or not right now. I'm so... Anyway, let's talk about the Worm Prince, despite the fact that nobody wants to go for Worm Prince, but...
No, but this set, this set looks good to me.
Yeah, we had a talk before about how eventually they're going to release something that has a double buff that gives you heals. There it is. This is the one. So...
This is the thing I want most on this banner, to be quite honest. Cleo's great. Nefaria could be great. Xander, but, you know... I love John too. I would love a John. But out of all of those things, if I could put one thing, it would be a Wish Upon Yule Tree. Because I have a Juliet, and you know who wants 10% defense at 70% above HP and another healing double buff? Juliet wants it.
Julietta has a defense buff on her own too, right?
Yes. This is like Juliet was born for this worm. Like, okay, I guess there's a chance that double buff somehow doesn't stack and they'll I really don't think that's gonna be the case. I think it's gonna be the case that she's gonna pop her defense skill and then one of the weapons she can get also procs the defense skill and is gonna get 2 HP regen buffs for 20 seconds. Like, that is amazing. I mean, she's already pretty solid in damage, and when you add in the ability to gain 2 different heals for yourself when you pop a defense buff, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and then you have to, you know, Ryozen, right? Ryozen's another character that can really benefit
that
from
old
this.
ass man.
Disgusting.
It's not an attractive one. Like, people are gonna be like, it's defense, HP.
Oh, yeah, it's not
I
gonna
want
make
to
you do tons of damage,
no.
but
This is for the people who have Ryozens and Juliets, and even any of the anyone who has something with the defense buff. Like, you could have one that has an attack. There's one that's like you do the defense buff and you gain attack or something. If you can double stack defense buff things where you pop a single defense skill and you get multiple buffs, the value just gets very high.
Yeah, you're thinking about Karina, because I think Karina works with all buffs too. I think Xander is the same way as well, so this could go out of control.
I love this. I really want this worm print badly.
I hope though later that there's gonna be another worm print that has just pure double buffs. I like the HP 70% and defense, that's great. But what if it's attack double buff and healing double buff?
Then, yeah, I will cream my pants. I will need that.
I'm like, ooh, dude, one defense,
if you
and then
can
you're
get,
getting buffed up the ass. Disgusting. And it's gonna come out. I know it will. It will come out.
We'll get triple double buff.
Then Karina will be absolutely deadly, destructive, monstrous. Now that is what building a worm print is all about. Getting excited about a worm. Even this I'm very excited about, because we're currently autoing master IOs. Now,
pretty much.
With a character that can do the self-defense buff, they will not die. They can auto all day. Now just gotta make sure that they actually dish out decent bit of damage. But Juliet with that,
Juliet, Karina, Vanessa. Who the hell's the wind one? The buff male dude.
Really?
Blanking on his Axe dude. What the hell's his name? The
Ronzo.
Wind Axe. Yeah.
I don't remember Ronzo having like some kind of thing that builds off of buffs though.
Ranzel. I mean, let me look.
I don't have defense. Yeah. Anyway, this thing is great and I love it. We will have to play around with it a lot.
I think it's going to be underrated. I think people are going to see that it's defense and HP, and they're going to be like, "Nah, it sucks." No,
yeah,
this is a good worm.
You heal yourself. You heal yourself every time you defense. That is so disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah. Because all the units that have these abilities already have good defense, so they're tanky. Like,
yeah, unless the heal is absolutely crap, then this is disgusting. You heal yourself whenever you want. That is so disgusting.
Do not sleep on this. This
is a very good skill.
I mean, look, if you don't have anybody that can take advantage of it, fine, then you shouldn't summon for it. But if you've got any of those axe users that has this, you gotta.
Disgusting.
Don't be like, I got this crappy Wish Upon Yule tree. No, this is a good worm print.
This is disgusting. But let's move on. We spent a lot of time already, so we should go and get onto this one, and we should probably stop from there. Now, the Prince of Dragonyule is the second worm print, and this thing, hey, guess what? Let's crit some more. This is the offensive one that really builds up. And guess who it works for? A Cleo. Cleo, who builds up the combo count. Critical rate by 10%? Well, you just beaten Levin's champion right there. As long as you just stick to someone and you don't get interrupted, you will crit a 10% rather than the 8% from the 70% thing. But the 70% that Cleo has works well with Levens anyway, so it's kind of hit or miss.
This is very much a, if you have Cleo, you want this, because it is better than Levens Champion on Cleo. But I'm pretty sure the Flurry Devastation part of it only works on water units.
And it does, indeed.
Combo count is something you want on daggers. I mean, there are, I guess maybe you could argue some other types that maybe can use it, but daggers are the ones that you want. You want Flurry.
Yeah.
You want combo count on dagger units. So, how many good dagger units? I guess there's what, Orsum or whatever, maybe, if you've got Orsum. But this is going to be very, very much a very good improvement on Levens Champion for water daggers.
Or Cleo, more specifically.
For Cleo, and maybe Orsum,
like
but
just
yeah,
Cleo.
if you get Cleo, you want this.
Yeah, dude, this is like, it's funny, too. It's like the Prince of Dragonyule. It's clearly, you know, it's clearly hinting something with Cleo here. It's like, just, I want the Prince. I want the Prince bad. Let's raise my critical rate by 10%.
Look at the smile on her face in that.
I know, seriously. She's like hundreds of years older than him. Doesn't matter, though. Yeah, this is a whole new...
That's the face she'll make if you put Prince of Dragonyule on your Cleo.
Yeah. This is disgusting. But then again, I still say that Levens Champion has good synergy with her because of her 70% strength buff as well. It has synergy. But, you know...
And for non-water, non-dagger users, I mean, Levens Champion's so good.
I feel like if you already built up a Levens Champion, just stick with that. Levens Champion gets 13% critical damage, so it's a little bit less than this thing. But this thing has such a strict condition that unless you plan on using Cleo forever, Levens Champion will serve you most of the way. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, because I think the maxes for Levens Champion is going to be 8% crit, 13% crit damage. So in the ideal scenario where you have both MUB, for Cleo specifically, this is strictly better. But for most other units, it's not going to be the case that it's strictly better. So if you have Levens Champion, don't be like, oh, this new one is power creep, whatever. It's like, this is strictly better for Cleo and maybe Orsum, but other than that, it's not going to be strictly better on other units than Levens Champion.
Yep. Anyway, I believe we have taken up a lot of time with this. This is like an hour video already. I believe we've spoken a lot at length. Every detail we could possibly think of with this banner. So I'm really looking forward to it. Because I really like that kind of ramp-up style DPS. I play a monk. I also play rogue and stuff like that for raids and such. So this is like my favorite fighting style when it comes to getting big dick DPS. That is the way I like to do it. Well, that or using Warlock and such, in which case Lily is good like that, but...
I can see you being a Warlock and doing all those drains and things and just running around while the enemies slowly die.
God. But, you know, or Wizard... Yeah, Wizard should be... I should
freeze them in place and then
Wizard
blast
would be
them.
Lily. But yeah, that's what I would do. I love that kind of stuff, but nothing compares to big dick rogue or monk DPS. Nothing. If you're good at it, you will beat DPS charts like nothing other. I want to be like that kind of guy that people look at and see, oh my god, we need to have him on the party. Holy shit, dude, look at that DPS, look, big dick DPS. Of course, that's if I get Cleo, but you know.
Can we get a hashtag? Can we get a hashtag big dick DPS?
No, god, please. I don't think that'll get me in trouble. My current power level is a little low too. I'm looking at like 17k Wormites and 2,000 Nightmania. I'm looking at like 19k in total, and then there's a free tenfold. And then we're looking at like 21k power level. It's a little dangerous. A little dangerous to say the least. I hope I can get her, but wouldn't hold my breath either. But I can't wait to try her out if I do get her, and she's really exciting for me, specifically, as, you know, my personality is built completely around it. I mean, it helps that, you know, she's also waifu material, but that big dick DPS thing is just, ooh, what I want so bad right now. Because, dude, I've been healing all day as Verica in Midgard. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm doing DPS. We don't need Verica. I'm like, oh please, let me prove myself. This is it. This is my time to shine. I have to get her.
You're ready to strip down and show off the big dick DPS.
Yes, I'm ready to pull down my DPS pants and show you my big dick DPS and rip your charts apart. Oh god. Alright, okay. That was a little excessive. Now we should probably stop. Okay. Well, nothing else to say then?
No, that's about it for me.
Alright, then we shall end today's programming with that big dick DPS. I thank you all for watching. Until next time.